People.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi there.
Hello.
Everyone.
Very nice to connect with all of you. Thank you so much for signing up and for coming.
Thank you for having it. I like listening to Rick talk.
Hello, brother.
So now I have to live up. I haven't even said anything yet, and I got to live up to someone saying something already.
No, I've been to your presentation that you put on before, and it's just I haven't been able to attend another one of the schools and stuff. So I'm glad to be able to get in today.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining, and this is something new that the Diane I connected, and she came up with this idea, and just so we're building something new.
Yes.
So
yeah. Yes, and thank you so much for all of you for being part of the first circle that we're putting together. So if any of you have not come to any of my events previously, my name is Nadia Hassan, and I am the founder of Zaya, which is a digital health platform that's working to provide and support people who have long-term and chronic health conditions and finding trustworthy, effective, and affordable holistic care. And so one of the things that I absolutely love doing every month is putting together different events to educate and spread awareness on different holistic approaches for your mental health and your physical well-being. And so Rick and I had an event. When was that? Rick, was that last month?
Or 2 months.
2 months ago?
A couple months ago.
April. I think it was in April.
Yeah, I think that was in April. Wow, time. We had an event last month, and ever since then, we decided to come together to offer these Zaya circles is what we're calling them. They're meditation and mindfulness circles. So every second Wednesday of the month, Rick and I will be putting together this little gathering, which will be a nice and safe place for people to come together and have mindful discussions on different topics. And the topic for this evening or morning, wherever you are in the world, is accepting the present moment. And so I'm really excited to have Rick here. And for those of you who have not met Rick, I'll give you a little bit of an intro if you'd like, Rick. So Rick,
I have to live up to my intro.
Well, Rick is the co-founder of the Mindfulness Care Center, where he's developed workshops around mindfulness and somatic experiencing, spiritual wholeness, and the resilience of our human embodied experience. He's a mindful meditation teacher and has served as a Buddhist interfaith chaplain at San Francisco General Hospital and CPMC hospitals. In his mindful somatic practice, he helps clients with high levels of traumatic anxiety, PTSD, as well as grief support. So that's a little bit of a brief background on Rick. And Rick, I would love for you to also introduce yourself, and maybe we can get started. And then also I'll be popping in some links into the chat. This is a completely free event. However, if you feel inclined to donate or offer anything to Rick, I will put a link in the chat, and you can always click on that and send your gratitude to him that way. So, all right, I will hand it off to you, Rick.
Well, thank you very much. So welcome everybody who's here, and we'll see people join, have to fall away, which happens whenever I do meditations. In the Mindfulness Care Center, I think that you were expressing has now become me on Zoom. A lot of doing things on Zoom. Just to share, before we get going, I also do a Tuesday evening meditation. It's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and a Sunday morning meditation at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I know we've sometimes gotten some people in other parts of the world can be in that. I have a friend in Madeira who joins at 5 p.m., I think, at 9 in the morning. So thank you for being here, everyone. we've been looking forward to doing this. And it's pretty quite simple. We have a topic that we'll look at, and it's an opportunity to come and sit, because this is a mindfulness and meditation circle. So we'll sit for maybe about 10 or 15 minutes. And what I'd like to do is I'll guide us in, which sometimes can kind of help the mind. The nature of the mind is actually to run around. And it's going to go down the street. It's going to go 4 blocks away. It's going to go over to Hawaii, maybe Belarus, and it's going to travel into outer space. And it's going to have all sorts of ideas. And part of the practice of mindfulness is actually beginning to wake up and recognize that. Instead of blaming the mind for what it does, we're recognizing what it does. So in that point, if I'm present, I can begin to see the thoughts and the patterns that I have.
Lost sound. We can't hear you, Rick.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so I think we're going to mute everyone at times, so we don't hear background noise. And so I'm not sure where you lost me. And just mindfulness and meditation is an opportunity. In the slowing down, we get to see how it's not necessarily so easy, because the mind has a thought, there's an impulse that wants to go with it. We want to resolve whatever impulse or thought is there. And so there's a constant chasing, I've learned. Then what we're learning is we can get out of the chasing and to be in the present moment, to actually see the present moment more as it is, not by my ideals and desires of how I would like the present moment to be. And the reason I practice that, which sometimes maybe we may not understand it right away, it's what gives me clarity to actually begin to see what's really happening and to see the nature of our life as a human being. That we live, we have a life. In that life, we can fall off our bikes. I know that, hurt our shoulders, crash hang gliding, we can get ill, we pass away, we age, we get wrinkles, and this is the nature of life. And somehow I've learned from my own self and wonderful teachers and clinicians and doing groups and people, we often resist that. We don't want it to be that way. We want it to be the way my mind, the ideal state my mind creates it to be. And if I'm not in the present moment, which is the beauty of, I love our topic today, I'm really not meeting it, I would say, with my really the wisdom and goodness of my own heart and my own mind. I'm meeting everything with ideals and how it should be, which means often I can be meeting it with anger, unforgiveness, anger towards myself, towards others, and living in expectations. And so being present can begin to pull us out of expectations. And it's not saying expectations are wrong or ideals are wrong, but they're not what's happening in the present moment. So the reason I love looking at this is like, imagine you're an architect and someone comes to you and they say, I want to build a house. I want to build a 2-story house and 2-car garage. And you say, okay, that's what I do. I went to school and I trained for it. So they give you an idea, it's in your mind and your imagination. Now you start drawing it. Now you have to take what you think was in their mind as best as you could, and you start putting that together, and then you show your client your drawing, and they go, oh, I like this, and then you redraw that, and you show them that until you get to a certain point after a long period of time, you're close to an idea of what may be, and then you have to build all the people that help construct it. So you could say these are all these other parts of our mind and our personalities to help construct what's going on here. So then you start to build the house. So you're building, you see the future of the house, but you're building it from the present moment of the ground, wherever the ground is, and breaking the ground and working from there. You're not living in the future. You're saying, what am I doing now? Here's the ideal of the house I would like to be, but I don't know what's in the ground. I don't know what I'm going to run into the ground. we may have to shift things around. As we're building, we may find, oh, we need to shift this or that around the house, or how we're building this and that. And so there's a constant readjustment and change. Happening in the present moment. So when we're thinking of the future or an ideal, we're still in the present moment. And that is the key, because then I can relate to myself and difficulties in life, the beauties in life, and I can see what it feels like in my body in the present moment. It's like I may have a beautiful thought and, oh, my breath is open, and there's a coolness that's happening, and I feel my heart expanding. It's like, wow, this is really nice. So if I'm aware, self-aware, I can actually notice the feeling tone of that in my body, not just in the thought of saying, oh, this is nice. In the mindfulness practice, we're trying to say there's a relationship to feeling tones and sensations of the body and the emotions, that they're not separate pieces. They're all part of the whole of what we are. And so the more I'm aware in the present moment, I can see how and what my body's doing and emotions are doing. And it's not blaming them, but it's actually learning about oneself. I'm learning about me. So this practice is not about changing the world. Being present in the moment isn't about changing the world. Like, I've got to fix this, I've got to fix that. We may have an ideal of how we'd like to be different in the world, maybe more kinder, compassionate towards ourselves and others, and that's good. But it's like finding out where maybe I'm getting in the way, where maybe I'm not meeting certain things, or how I'm looking at it, because I begin to see my own patterns and habits that can often keep me away from how I want to be. And so we're trying to begin by being in the present moment and expanding this mindful awareness to see more of what's going on. So if I'm clinging to, and I can talk about myself, something a teacher said to me in high school, and I can say for many years it affected me, and it had a tightness in my body, and there was a sadness and anger with it, until somehow I really saw it, and I was able to actually to release it and not have it own me anymore. But by seeing what it was and staying trapped, they shouldn't have done this, why did they do that, and all the whys and ifs, I was actually not in the present moment of ignoring how it was affecting my body and my breath, and almost keeping me away from the compassion of something I didn't understand. I don't even know where the teacher was, their mind was at in that moment. It was actually a teacher I had always liked. And so it took me many years to begin to like, oh, I'm the one that's holding on to that because I have an expectation of what shouldn't have happened, how it should have said. And I really didn't even know what was going on with the teacher. I just know how it affected me. And so I can be compassionate for how it affected me, which is very different. If I'm living in the thoughts, then like I'm in a past trying to change it. I'm still in the present moment. But if I can recognize I have that thought in the past, and oh, that has a tightness in the chest, there's still a little sadness, there's some heat coming up. Oh, that's happening in the moment of this thought about something happening in the past. And in this present moment, my mindfulness practice, which can open up my heart and say, oh, Rick, what would you like to do for the body that's feeling this right now? And it just wants to be acknowledged. And so living in the present moment allows for acknowledgement. It's not about changing. It's around for like, wow, that was difficult. And there's so much I didn't know. And that's the key. In this practice, I found after over 30 years of meditation practice, how little I really know. It actually has taught me what I don't know and what I thought I always know, and how much I really don't know that's going on. Even when I'm working with clients in a group, I can watch, I can have an idea of where we're going, but everything that's happening in the movement of that person's mind and all the sensations and what threads they're pulling together, I don't know. I can watch, I can resonate and see things and can be pretty good at that, but there's so much I don't know. And in the somatic training that I've done, it's like Peter Levine, who developed this work with trauma. It's like we think sometimes we're going one way with a client, they go this way. And we have to be able to let go and just follow things. And that to me is what mindfulness meditation is really about. That it's about curiosity, being open, following what's going on, and noticing when I don't want to follow what's going on because it's not meeting a certain expectation my mind thinks should be happening. I shouldn't be thinking this. This person shouldn't be thinking this. This person shouldn't be saying this. Well, if that's how I'm responding, how do I resolve an issue? If I'm coming from that shouldn't be happening. And it was interesting, one time I was working with someone and they were saying to me what their partner did, and they were upset about something their partner said. And it was so funny. Then right after they said that, they go, well, they can't say that to me. And I go, wait a minute, you just told me they did say it to you. And so it's like, if they're living in the place that they can't say that to me, they're actually not hearing what their partner's saying. And they're also not recognizing what's happening in themselves. And sometimes by acknowledging what someone's saying, it doesn't mean we have to agree to what someone's saying, but we can hear what they're saying. And then if I can pause and notice what's happening for me, it may be help that relationship versus the ideal of what should be and shouldn't be. And so I say all these things because they're a practice. Everything I'm sharing is I'm practicing. I'm still learning. I still can goof it up and I go, okay, you didn't quite get it right. But the fact that I know what I'm working with, my intentions, that's the beauty. So being in the present moment in our practice of mindfulness and meditation, we can actually look at our intention of what is my intention of being here in this moment? What's my intention in this life? What's my intention of who I would like to bring forth, not attached as an identity, but a way of being, which is very different versus attaching to identity and the way of being. And all these things that I'm sharing continually grow, and it comes from years of practice. So meditation, we want to look like as a verb. It's not a noun that we obtain. And so someone says, oh my gosh, they have this meditation mindfulness circle. I can't wait to join. 6 months, boy, nothing's going to bother me anymore. These people hopefully have some wisdom and I'm going to feel great. Well, I've already attached an untruth to what's going to happen. We're learning how to slow down, reflect, and begin to see deeper what we might need to release that really doesn't work for us, and ideals that we've been clinging to that have never proven to be true. And we can see the good things in ourselves that we're doing and learn to cultivate them like a garden. We keep watering the garden because there's something that we're doing feels nice. And what we're learning is that's what I'm doing. It may not resonate with another person. They may not see it the same way. They may not hear it the same way. So we're learning also how to give space and to hold our own convictions, and I would say that are non-harmful, is how I practice. And so I feel blessed with many teachers that I've had, some really great teachers, clinicians that I've learned from, and then my own practice and from clients. So everything that I'm sharing here is, you don't have to take it as a truth. What I'm just sharing is how Rick's taken everything up until this present moment in life and expressing it and sharing it with you. And what I always say, everyone then should take, you can take this day and this moment and all the different places that you've learned from things and then put them together and how it comes out for you, how you bring that out into the world. Because no one can do that. If someone asks me about Buddhism, boy, there's so many answers to that. I can give you, maybe I hear the question, try to answer it in the way that I am in this moment. But it's not to go argue with someone that says, well, I think it's this, I think it's that. And in all religious and spiritual practices, people can argue about what they think it is. We can be working on a little art project together and start arguing, about how it should be. We can dig a hole. I remember my ex and I, I'm thinking about going on a trip. And so we would pack, the trunk, you start to get things in, and someone's moving it this way and someone's moving it that way, and getting upset. Well, you can't do this and you can't do that, and you can't get everything in that way. And it's like, oh, we just start, you can see how the mind starts working, who's right or wrong. And I think what I finally recognized, she knew how to pack better than I did. So that's just an idea of a reflection that we can begin to look at. And so I'm going to guide us into a little meditation. And just as I started, the mind may go away, and that's the nature of the mind. We don't blame it, but through our awareness, I can see that it's doing that. And if the energy of it's not real strong, then I can bring it, then I could say, oh, well, let me just come back to wherever Rick's guiding us. And might be awareness of the feet, the breath. Oh, noticing what my knees are like, my forehead. And just so we can kind of get to know the body, and then be sitting with the breath. And so we keep bringing that awareness back. Once we know we're about to go into a thought, or we're inside the thought, it's like thoughts aren't in charge, you are. This may be something you know, or may be very new. Thoughts are not who we are, and they're not in charge of us. You are. The deeper part of us, something very deep, what I would say is the true knowing, what I've learned, is in charge. But we have to work with that strong energy of the thought, the impulse of it, and the emotion of it that may or may not be there. And what I do want to say is, when we're sitting and things start to let go, sometimes the heart expands and a memory may come in. And if it does, and it's strong, we can just actually ride that like a wave. We just say, oh, this is really strong right now. I'm feeling it in my chest or my throat, my eyes, and I can notice the feeling tone of it and just ride it like a wave. Be kind to it. Oh, body, you're just really feeling this right now. I can ride that. And then as it settles, I come back and I notice the breath and the body. Just come back to the meditation. So we're trying to keep it really simple and acknowledging ourselves. So as we're about to begin, if you need to roll your shoulders, your neck, I always love to massage my jaw. You can shake your hands or your feet, wiggle your toes. So finding a position that actually feels upright and stable. So the meditation practice is called about becoming awake. So it's not becoming asleep, but it can happen at first because we start to get relaxed. We're not used to that, but we're wanting to be in a position, not necessarily where we're just going to fall asleep right away. Because what we're hoping to do is to wake up the mind, wake up the bigger heart, and get a little more clarity. So just as we're sitting here, just see if you could begin to notice the breath, the breathing, tip of the nose, the belly and the chest. That we're breathing this beautiful air around us. It brings life to the body and energy to it. It's pretty wonderful. And in my practice, I like to let my eyes close. I let my eyes soften in my face, because my eyes take in so much information. It's really nice, like, okay, you can pause. And that inner awareness often allows me then to notice more of the sensation, the sense body. So begin to notice where there's contact. So contact is known through a weight, a pressure. So depending, however, if you're laying down, sitting on a cushion, on a chair, a couch, just see if you can notice where there's a weight, a connection. So that connection is a feeling tone of a weight, a pressure. It might be on the feet, the thighs, the back, might be connection of the lips. And so we're just actually being open and curious. So this is all about open and curious. It's not grabbing onto anything, pushing anything away. We may notice how sensations actually rise one after another, moment after moment, thousands to millions of sensations all day long, the nature of a human body. So we're not judging them, we're actually waking up to see this movement of being human. And so let's say we can just maybe start from the feet. I'll just kind of guide us up, sweep up from the feet. See if you can bring your awareness to the bottoms of the feet as we're sitting here breathing. You might notice the balls of the foot, the arch of the foot, the toes, the top of the foot. You might notice tingling, maybe warmth, coolness, moistness, dryness, roughness, smoothness, a weight, a pressure, maybe it's neutral, a stringiness, just the different energies, may not even have a name, just noticing the arising and passing of energies of the bottom of the foot, the top of the foot, the toes, the ankle. And just take a moment of just being curious, like, wow, what's a foot like when I say hello to it? And allowing that awareness to come up from the foot and the ankle to notice a calf and a shin. It could be open, soft, maybe a sense of roundness, holding, tightness, sharpness, achiness, neutrality, fluffiness. Again, just whatever word arises, or just an awareness of an energy moving through the calves and the shins. So there's no right or wrong. It's just what is. We can begin aware of the knees, bringing in the thighs, coming into awareness of the hips, pelvic and buttocks area. There might even be a different sensation from the left side to the right side. The nature of a human body could be different. We're not trying to make it perfectly the same. It may feel that way at times and it may not. And allowing the breath, just breathe the lower half of this body from the waist and the buttocks down through the feet. And often I like to feel like roots are coming down through my feet and legs into Mother Earth, breathing her, all the beauty of Mother Earth, the moisture of the ground, all the nutriments in the ground, just breathing the lower half of my body, letting it just ground right here. And rising up to the torso, I may notice the back, that there's a lower back, middle back, an upper back, shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades. It could be very neutral, have a sense of flatness, or maybe it's holding, tight, open, soft, flowing. It's not judging, just noticing what is. Noticing the belly. Maybe we've eaten, it has a sense of fullness. Maybe we haven't eaten, it can feel empty. Maybe it's fluffy, queasy, again, neutral. It's just a knowing of the body that lives on the planet Earth that we walk with every day. Awareness of the chest. Awareness of the ribs. Underneath the ribs are the heart and the lungs, and in the torso, all the organs. And just breathing with this torso, inhaling and exhaling with awareness of a torso. And allowing that to spread out through the arms, noticing the hands. The palms of the hands, the fingers, fingertips, tops of the hands. Are they moist or dry, warm, cool, soft, rough, achy, neutral, flowing? Awareness of a wrist and a forearm, an elbow and an upper arm, all the way to the shoulders. So shoulders, what are you doing? They may feel very neutral, maybe There's a tightness in them, an openness, a softness, just a simple awareness of wherever they are, the energy of noticing shoulders. Allowing that to rise up through the back of the neck, the throat could be moist or dry, coming to the skull and the jaw, this large muscle and bone for chewing and talking. Awareness of the chin. Noticing the mouth, is it moist or dry? Awareness of the tongue and the teeth and the lips. Awareness of the upper lip to the nose and the nostrils, where air may be moving in and out from breathing. Expanding the awareness of the face to the cheeks and the cheekbones, eye sockets, eyes and eyelids, forehead, ears. More awareness of the nose. So this awareness of a face. Now noticing the scalp, the energy of a scalp over the skull of the head. Maybe there's a feeling tone of hair on the head. Maybe you have glasses or jewelry on the body, clothing on the body, temperature of the skin. So just noticing sensations arising and passing, not grabbing on or holding, of the body, the inner body and the outer body. Just like breathing with that. Again, the mind wanders. If it goes away 100 times, 101 times, we just bring it back, keeping it simple. And allowing that awareness to refine itself to the air that's moving in and out of the body, bringing it life. So that's the breath, the breathing. You may notice that movement, the tip of the nose, the nostrils, the throat, air moving in and out. Maybe on an inhalation, we notice the belly and the chest have a sense of rising, filling up. And on the exhalation, a release, a letting go. So this is the energetic path, this liveliness of the body breathing. This beautiful oxygen. Do we ever pause to feel this air of life-giving energy coming in, feeding the cells and the bones and the skin? We can actually breathe in the joy of oxygen. So we're just taking another minute or two before I ring the bell, just following the breath right here in this body. And if you find the mind gets busy, wanders away, or doesn't even want to sit, we just notice the thought. And we can actually come right back to the breath. We don't have to entertain or engage with the thought. We can just be aware of it. So as we end meditation as sitting, still see if we can have awareness of the body that's here, still awareness of the breath that's breathing, air moving. And so that helps us. The more I can sense that, I'll notice the thoughts a little bit more that are coming in and out, the type of thoughts I might even be having. And when you're ready to open your eyes, let your eyes orient. So this is really important about being in the present moment. I'm orienting to the shapes and the colors of my environment. I'm looking and seeing what's here. So you can even look, there's a plant, a picture, a couch, a chair, a piece of wood. Take a moment and really look at it. That's the present moment of the environment. And it's important because in the present moment, by orienting with my eyes, I can also see if there's danger, real danger or not. Not my thought creating an idea that danger could happen. I'm actually seeing, and I kind of play with this, is like, oh, there's no bear running around. There's no alligators nipping at my feet. There's not a tiger here. I don't see the Huns breaking in through the window. So I know I'm okay. And that's real important, being in the present moment and working with thoughts. If we use 5 sense orientation, we can actually help ourselves be in real time. Because we can begin to notice when the mind has a thought that is creating something that could happen that isn't happening. And usually that's ideas of the past, but we're actually learning what's really here in the present moment, which is so helpful in creating grounding and actually really how to respond to something that's not coming to a self-created idea that I find often everything my mind's creating never even happens the way it's creating it or think is going to happen. And if I'm more here, I can readjust quicker. So it's like the deer, if it's out in the woods, so we have sound, take a moment for sound, orienting to sounds inside your body and outside your body. So again, I'm playful with this. I don't hear the Huns beating their drums, ready to break in, and attack. I don't hear a car crashing into my door, people pounding on the door, or someone even in here. So I know I'm okay. I could hear loud voices. I can even look out a window and see an argument. It doesn't mean that I'm not okay. The body might feel discomfort, but it doesn't mean I'm not okay just because there's 2 people maybe crossing the street arguing. And so it's a real wake-up call is why it's so important to be in the present moment and not to just to jump with impulses and feelings and begin to think they're in charge and they really know the truth of what's going on. They're just the truth of the present moment. This impulse, this feeling, this emotion, this thought, but it can change very rapidly through clarity of awareness and seeing more what's here. And so I can smell, our nose looks for gas or fire. Animals really smell each other. The deer in the wild is going to hear something, it's going to look, it'll see if there's a predator. If there's a predator, it's going to maybe start moving, getting ready to go into fight or flight. It may look up and just see the trees rustling. It can keep eating. So this is all information actually around survival and acknowledging our moment here. Just as tastes in the mouth. If something doesn't taste right, my mouth will spit it out. Or it'll find flavors that feel neutral or it really likes that flavor. Or my body right now, is my body, am I safe just by knowing touch? Well, am I on a bed of nails? Am I on hot coals? California, is the earth shaking? So there's none of that's happening. So in real time, I'm actually safe and okay. And I find this practice when I orient 99% of the time or more, 99.5 or more, I'm actually safe and okay. There's not much going on. It's our mind that's creating our world. The mind is creating the world. And if we're more aware of that, we can see maybe ways that it's been clinging to the past, expectations of how things should have been or not been. And through that, we might be able to find we can open up more for how much we didn't know what was going on, things that did feel hurtful to us or things that felt joyful. And and we can bring ourselves more present here. And the more we do that, we become less of a victim of clinging to the ideas of the past and begin to open up to actually maybe even more compassion to ourselves and even to others of things that may have been happening. So again, this is how I've been working, and I found it very beautiful. So I really love the orientation practice. And I remember it was a group I was teaching, and it's one of the first things in the beginning of a class, first week or two, I really teach the orientation. We go through it. And I remember someone coming back and they had no idea they could actually stop and pause and really smell, touch, hear, sound, and taste their world, because they were so trapped in their mind and in high anxiety, they never realized they could actually pause and see in real time, in the present moment, of what's really happening. And usually not much is happening. You know, I could be talking to a friend or someone, I may not like what they're saying. That discomfort is because I have an expectation or desire for them to say something different. But it doesn't mean I'm not safe and okay. But if I don't like discomfort, I can feel unsafe. But it's actually, that's not a truth. It's just a discomfort that we've never acknowledged because someone's saying something that we think differently about. And so that person said to me, it was life altering for them, just beginning to notice any time in their life, you know, they can pause, they can be at a store walking. I do this waking up in the morning. You know, it's kind of funny. I laugh. I look by the side of my bed. I don't see any alligators. I guess I'm safe and okay right now. And so I can have a laugh at myself in the morning. And it's really quite beautiful. So in the present moment, we're learning how it is now. We're acknowledging how it is now. And so we have memories of the past, the future, but that all happens in the present moment. So if I'm thinking of the past, I can see how it's affecting me in the present moment. Tight chest, achy belly, shoulders up to here, heat, sweat, you know, oh, there's a sadness to it. Oh, my eyes want to cry and discharge. Maybe I'm having a memory and I feel like, oh, I shouldn't be crying and feeling sad. It happened 20 years ago. Well, but if my body's saying, oh, there's moisture there, I can say, okay, eyes, go ahead and have your moisture. You can stay the same. You can release it. You can do whatever you want. So there's a kindness of compassion we really learn to understand when we're in the present moment. And so are we willing to accept this moment? And that's the key question. I find many times people do not want to live in the present moment. And if I don't, I have found for myself, how can I really respond to what's actually happening? How can I really use my wisdom and the wisdom of an open, compassionate heart if I don't want to accept the present moment? It doesn't mean that it's not painful or hurtful or confused, but I'm the knower of the confusion. I'm the knower of not understanding something. I'm the knower of this feeling in the present moment. And for me, I found there's something beautiful as I've learned to do that more and more and not be afraid of the present moment and sensations of the body. It's just information. And so we can notice thoughts, emotions, and feeling tones, how they arise, and beginning to relate with them from a more clarity. And when we do, and we're not so judgmental about all this stuff rising, it's like there's a calming. So imagine if you had a little jar and there's some dirt or sand in it, and you shook it up. It's going to be difficult to see because everything's all over. But if you give it a minute and let it pause and it settles, then there's going to be clarity, and you can see the clarity in the water. And so our mind is like that too. If it's always active, looking for what's right, what's wrong, this or that, it's like shaking the jar of water up, and it's living in the jar of water, and it thinks, I see the truth. But how can I see what's really going on when everything's being shook up? It's cloudy, everything's running around in front of me, and I'm saying, well, why is it doing that? And that's the beauty of our meditation. We can begin to slow down and begin to see all this. So the meditation practice in the beginning, mindfulness and meditation, we slow down, which can begin to feel nice, but it also begins to wake up the mind to see more clearly, which can be discomforting at first when we actually see how we act, how we think, and how much the mind runs around in its judgments and critiquing. But that willingness to look at it gives us the opportunity for change and growth. So why would we want to do all this? Because it's a path towards equanimity. So as the mind becomes more tranquil, calm, and collected, equanimity is this natural occurrence of our ability to be more in balance. So there's an equipoise stance we're able to inhabit in life as things are, life swirls around us, but we're able to be more in this equipoise, this position of balance. So our clinging desires, aversions should be this way phenomena of life. It begins to lose its grasp and its grasp. And so we're not so pulled away from impulsive actions and believing their truths and responding and treating ourselves and others from that first impulsive action or thought. It no longer owns us. And so our responses to everything can begin to change. And so we're not blaming the impulses or behaviors or misunderstandings. We're slowing down to recognize that's what's happening by being in the present moment. In the present moment, one of my wonderful teachers, who's a very well-known monk in the Ajahn Chah Theravada spiritual practice of Theravada Buddhism. And he always says, the moment is like this. And I love that because it's like, oh, it's like this right now. If I'm having an argument, with 2 or 3 people, go, oh, it's like this. This is probably uncomfortable for all of us. It's like this. And it feels like this in my body. And that simple acknowledgement is so wonderful because we often live in life without acknowledging ourselves. And so I offer that as a little reflection this morning and sitting. And I'd like to open up for any thoughts, comments, questions, how the sitting was for you. Some of these reflections, are they helpful, not helpful?
Feel free to unmute yourselves, or if you have something that you'd like to share, you can also put it in the chat as well. We can take the next 10 minutes to have a nice little discussion.
Hi, I wanted to say thank you. It was really nice to have that today. I love the meditation part. I was wondering, on your website, will you be putting up any meditations like that people could listen to?
I have, it's on the website, my website, I have some older talks on there. We're working on a new website, put newer ones. This one, I think when I get the new site, then maybe I'll put some of these up, but Nadea, will this be somewhere for people to be able to listen to, or on your site, or
so
YouTube site?
This will be recorded, so I can send you the recording after this is done. I'll send it to the email, whichever you've registered with. So if you'd like, you can always replay the meditation piece as well.
Okay, well, no, I was just curious because I know on the center, like on the healing center, there's different, it talks about different programs and stuff, and I just thought, having somewhere where he's doing the meditations would be nice for, people to access.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I hear that. I thought we just haven't done that, and something that could possibly happen, that I'll have a little meditation. When I've done some 8-week programs, people have gotten those, but I haven't put them on the website. But thank you for that. Yeah.
Well, I also wanted to say thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Great.
And yes, I have a hard time staying in the moment. My mind likes to wander a lot. That's part of the ADHD thing. Same with the autism, I get stuck on one thing. But I'm really learning how important that is. And by doing mindfulness and, the meditation practices, I'm getting better at it. So they do really work.
Yeah, and all it is it's a practice. We're learning, we're not trying to judge, we're practicing. I mean, after many years, and even my teachers, the mind goes away. We have a feeling, we have a thought. So we just recognize it and then just work with that.
We have another question from Vicky. She said, what about traumatic situations like a teenager woman that is getting abused from her father? She said, I had a friend that in the end committed suicide. How can mindfulness help in the moment that like this is happening?
Well, what I found in this, it's a practice. It's not going to end horrible things from happening in life. And so if I have a friend where something has happened to, and I've had in my life many losses, hurts, pains, being a chaplain, is I bring it to my heart. The first thing is like, here's what happened to my friend. Here's what's going on with someone in my family. I can feel it in my heart, the heaviness, it quivers, it shakes, and learn not to be afraid of that. Often we can be afraid of like, oh, if I really let myself sit with the heaviness of my heart, maybe I'll explode or something, but we actually don't. To be able to sit sometimes with things that we can't always fix or have an answer for right away, that it actually expands the heart. And then the more I'm expanding my heart and being present in looking at those things in clarity, then what happens in me starts to reach out into life. And then maybe we can actually be helping others in life. We might be able to see where a friend or something is happening and maybe find a way to support them to end the abuse, to seek for help. But if I shut down all my feelings and I don't want to be with it, and it's scared, then it can be even scared for me to even get closer to help my friend. And so the more we can open up and what our wisdom and our good heart, and again, each instance is there, but we just need to start somewhere with a practice so we can open up ourselves more, be more, and see how through practice, it doesn't stay just in me, it leaks out into the world. We begin to touch other people in a different way. And that to me is how we can change the world and how we can change abuse, because we're looking at it and we can see in ourselves when we want things our way and we don't want to sit with the discomfort, we can all be abusive in many ways in our words and telling people how they're supposed to be and pushing away, get away from me. And so we start working with ourselves, and the more that happens, we can maybe change the world, because we're also starting with me. That has to include me. Kindness has to include me. So thank you for that, and sorry, to hear your friend and what's happening. So,
Okay.
anyone else? Thoughts, questions, comments, or are these reflections helpful, or like, boy, I never want to listen to Rick again?
I really enjoyed the meditation, actually. It's so interesting. Sometimes I could feel the temperature of my body changing throughout the entire meditation, which was really interesting.
Yeah. So that's what's beautiful. We actually find sensations are coming and going all day long. And so think about it. If there's an uncomfortable sensation or thought or emotion, it's like, oh, you're impermanent. You're going to change. So it's like, oh, okay. Some point you won't be here. Something else will come. So that could be good. Or it's like, oh, here's a good thought. And so, well, that's going to change too. But if I'm not clinging to anything, and that's what we're learning in the practice, to stop clinging to things, because they're actually all in movement. It's impermanent. They come and go. Our planet's impermanent. I mean, I think of all the things we think and we're doing, and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Well, I know Rick's impermanent and the planet's impermanent. And it's like, okay, then what? And it's like, it helps me when I can reflect that way to like, well, then who do I want to be right now? Who do I want to continue cultivating? as the kind of person that can walk on the earth, not being perfect, not getting it right, not meeting the ideals of all my friends and family members, but what's happening in me and what can I cultivate? Because I'm the only one that can really do that. No one can do it for me.
Yeah.
So anyone else, anything? Maybe there's something you could share. So here's I love this quote by Nathaniel Brand. It says, self-acceptance is my refusal to be in an adversarial relationship to myself. It says, self-acceptance is my refusal to be in an adversarial relationship to myself, which goes back to what I've been saying, this sense of acknowledgement. I may say something I dislike. I may have a behavior pattern. But if I can acknowledge it and see how it feels and see the discomfort of maybe even the way I said something, I'm not an adversary to myself. Now I'm learning to recognize, like, wow, that's not how I want to act. That's not the type of speech I want to have. So the act of being with the discomfort isn't a beating up or I'm a horrible person. It's an act of learning and growth. And sometimes the discomfort may last for a week or two, for a while, but I keep inviting in. I say, it's like, wow, this really sucks. And that's what's going to help me say, that's not the way I want to act, or that's not what I want to do. So it's learning to have a non-adversarial relationship with ourselves. Byron Katie says it this way. Do you want to meet the love of your life? How's that? Do you want to meet the love of your life? Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. This is the first person and the most precious person is oneself. Because if we don't know what life feels like, compassion, kindness, goodness, doing things that are difficult, confusion, living as a victim and blame, if I don't have that for my own self to learn and to grow, I will never know what it's like outside of myself. I'll be living in a mental thought of what I believe it's like. And life isn't easy. So we learn to have kindness, this person right here in the mirror, love, not beating oneself up. And what I found, the less I have had anger for myself and all this, forgiveness is easy, letting go of things that I don't know that others have done. And it's learning to let go that I was in a space of confusion when maybe I've hurt somebody or said something, just all the causes and conditions rose in that moment. But I don't have to cling to that moment, and I don't have to keep blaming the moment or others for not meeting me because of my expectations. I'm the one that meets myself. I'm the one that starts offering kindness to oneself.
All right.
So can I end with one thing from my book?
Yes, please.
So I do have a book. If people don't know, it's called If You Can't Change Your Mood, Change Your Mind. You can get it online. I had to throw an infomercial in there. And so just one of the quotes from the book. So we're coming here in our meditation and mindfulness circle. So we've done all this, but I want to leave you with this thought. Don't think about practicing mindfulness. That doesn't work. Don't think about meditating. That doesn't work either. Both of these sound like wonderful aspects to have in our life, though if we only think about them, they are not being experienced. If we are not practicing them, we are not living them. So thank you everyone for joining us.
You should put the information about your book and same for the Wellness Center in the chat for people to read.
Yeah, so
They wanna-
so
they
I'll-
want to learn more.
We just put it in.
Perfect.
It's in the chat.
So you can, the first link at the very top, again, if you'd like to make a donation to Rick, that is all the way at the top of the chat. It's just mindfulnesscare.wajuba.com and then the / all the other stuff. And then also the link to Rick's book, the link to his website. And also, if you'd like to join us next month, we'll be doing another one of these meditation and mindfulness circles. And the topic will be managing chronic pain and anxiety using a mindful somatic approach. And if you'd like to join that, the link is also in the chat there. And if you're interested in attending any other events that I put together, there is another one that's coming up on May 27th, which is called Overcoming Insomnia Using Mindfulness and CBTI. And I'll be speaking with sleep psychotherapist Heather Darwell-Smith. And we'll be talking about how to use different mindfulness techniques and as well as cognitive behavioral therapy, specifically for insomnia and other sleep disorders. And so if you're interested in coming to that, the link is in there as well. And if you'd like to learn more about the project that I'm working on, and if you'd like to just kind of keep updated with the circles that Rick and I will be doing, you can always check out our website here. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nadia, for
Thank you so much, Rick.
for hosting this and
Yes,
keeping us all in line here.
of course. Thank you, as always.
Well, great, everyone, and may wish all of you well. Have a great week, and tell your friends, and we can grow our circle around the world. How's that? Continue to grow, be global.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Okay, let's get these copied here. So.